I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Yuba City City Council to order, June 2nd, 2026. This is our closed session. This meeting is being held in the council chambers, which are open to the public for public attendance and participation. Jeez, these eyes. The meeting will also be live streamed for public viewing, but not participation at the link identified in the agenda. Email comments sent and received by the city clerk at least 24 hours before the meeting were distributed to the city council prior to the meeting. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Boomgarden.
Here.
Vice Mayor Pasquale.
Here.
Councilmember Cole. Here. Councilmember Kirchner.
Present.
Councilmember Shaw.
Here.
Thank you. Closed session, Mr. City Attorney, would you mind reading the closed session items for us? I know how you feel.
First item is conference of legal counsel existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1. The name of the case is Larry Johnson. The claim number is 1396-610353. Item B is liability claim. The claimant is Timothy Blankenship, claim number 2621. The agency claimed against the city of Yuba City. Item C is the conference of labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. Agency designated representatives of Gina Rowland, chief labor negotiator. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, any public comments? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and go to closed session. Welcome, Welcome everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and call to order the meeting of June 2nd, 2026 of the Yuba City City Council. The meeting is being held in the council chambers, which are open for public attendance and participation. The meeting will also be live streamed for public viewing, but not participation at the link identified in the agenda. Emailed comments sent and received by the city clerk at least 24 hours before the meeting were distributed to the city council prior to the meeting. May I have roll call, please?
Mayor Boomgarden.
Here.
Vice Mayor Pasquale.
Here.
Councilmember Cole. Here. Councilmember Kirchner.
Present.
Councilmember Shaw.
Here.
All right, tonight we are joined by Chris Fincham, who's the Yuba City Police Department chaplain. He will lead us in the invocation, and if you don't mind, I'd love to have President Tawny Dotson lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance after the invocation. So, Chris, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this council. Lord, I pray that you would give them wisdom. I thank you for the way they serve our city so well. Lord, I pray for the meeting tonight, Lord, as they discuss things that are important to all of us. I pray that you would give them wisdom. I pray you would give them guidance and clarity. Lord, I pray for their families, that you would protect their families, and Lord, that you would just continue to lead and guide them. Lord, I thank you for our first responders, some that are even here tonight. God, I pray that you would protect our first responders. I pray that you would continue to just give them wisdom in their roles. And God, again, we thank you for the many people that serve our city so well. In Jesus' name, amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At ease.
Thank you, Chris. And thank you, Tawny. All right. Mr. City Attorney, could you please report out on the closed session items?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There was reportable action taken on item B. That's the liability claim for Timothy Blankenship, claim number 2621. The action taken was a notice of rejection due to no merit. There was no other reportable actions on items A and C of the closed session agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda modifications. Item number 15, which was the Utilities 2026-2031 rate schedule and ordinance update, will be continued to our next regular meeting of the City Council, which will be held on June 16th, 2026. And due to anticipated recusals, item number 10, which is a Lighting Landscaping Maintenance District 5-6, will be pulled from the consent calendar or consent items and voted on separately. I'm going to go ahead and let you know that because of the election activities tonight, we are going to move through our agenda in a thorough but rapid fashion. So if it looks like things are moving right along, that's the reason why. But we are going to go ahead and take item number 1 right now, which is the recognition of police volunteers in policing proclamation. And I'd like to invite Police Sergeant Gwinnett and all of our Yuba City Police Department volunteers to please come forward and join the council.
Volunteers!
Besides, she's got somewhat of a badge. She might hit me at night.
Yeah, I got Sheriff Waller.
All right. It's certainly my honor and the rest of the council who have an opportunity to speak here in a moment to honor our volunteers. These folks are a huge portion of keeping our community safe. We value their volunteerism, and I know we're going to hear a little bit more about that in a minute. The Yuba City Police Department's Volunteers in Policing program, which was established in 1996, enables community members to support law enforcement through services such as neighborhood patrols, vacation checks, traffic control, administrative assistance, community outreach, and crime prevention education. Between April 1st, 2025 and March 31st of this year, 2026, volunteers contributed 2,665 hours of service valued at approximately $66,525 in wages. Their dedication and commitment enhance public safety, strengthen community partnerships, and improve the quality of life for Yuba City's residents. In recognition of their outstanding service and contributions, I, Mayor Mark Boomgarden, on behalf of the City Council and the citizens of Yuba City, formally take this opportunity to honor the Volunteers in Policing program. I'm going to give this to, okay. So, if you bear with me on the proclamation. Whereas Yuba City Police Department Volunteers in Policing was, oh, I read most of this already. I don't have to do that. Well, this looks a lot more formal than the piece of paper I have. I'll give this to Mike. And thank you. We'll stand by for some photos here, but how about we'll start with you first, and then we'll hear about the volunteers.
Thank you, and we're lucky to have Susan Shaw with us tonight, one of our volunteers. As council had advised, it is election day, so a lot of our volunteers are volunteering at poll locations. But it is an honor to have them at our police department. They do a lot of stuff for us that seems to be tedious for our employees, but having them pick up our slack, they do a really good job. A lot of data entry, a lot of stuff with the summer stroll, being with the community, and just giving out outreach pamphlets and mingling with the kids and giving them coloring books and toys and everything else that we have to hand out. But we also have something for the city council. So, Chief, will you hold that? Here's a check.
Check yeah.
For $66,525 that is the volunteers have saved the city, and we're giving that check to the city.
Good job. Go volunteers.
You can keep it.
That's right. Chief, anything you'd like to add?
Sure. Unfortunately, a handful of them weren't able to make it. In fact, several said they were going to be here, but we may have some disciplinary issues for not showing up. And John should be up here because, you know, he's the other half of one of our longest standing volunteers, right? How many years? 4 chiefs worth? Something like that. So, but they, as Sergeant Gwinnett said, they do so much for us. And it's really just so much for the community because, again, they get to a lot of the things that we just otherwise would not get to. And it's a huge asset to our community. So thank you for all that they do. And with that, I'll hand it over.
Susan, give you an opportunity to say something. Awesome.
Just want to say it's really an honor for us, and it's a privilege for us to be able to help out in any small ways that we can. Mine is a pretty small because I do work full time, but the other volunteers put in tons and tons of hours, and it's just a labor of love, and we thoroughly enjoy it. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. I question this number. What hourly rate are we using? Minimum wage? Okay, all right. No, they do a great job, and they do a lot of good for the city, and they are very visible and such. So thank you all. To pass on my appreciation to all of them for me, Mike. Thank you.
So volunteers definitely know better than probably anyone that giving feels much better than getting. And so the more of you that there are, the better. Thank you for your time and your heart and all that you do.
All right, this is awkward. But I still want to go back to what Mark read earlier. And Mike, I want to thank you personally because he talked about volunteering. So you're now a volunteer, correct? Yeah. All right, it's on record. You all heard it. No, it's, I want to say thank you to not only my wife, but all the volunteers. And John, you truly should be up here because what I've noticed is all the volunteers, this is what they do. This is their passion. They give back. And if they have a spouse, John and I run into each other all over the place, dropping off, picking up, or hanging out. Am I right? And but it's a great group. They do a valuable service for us at the city. And this is just, in tough budget times, this is huge. You don't know how big $66,000 is. So to all of our VIPs, and I guess we'll reinstate you, Mike. But thank you.
So just to reiterate that, go ahead and make sure that our volunteers know how much they're appreciated. We feel kind of spoiled because not all communities have this type of a program or the caliber of the people that are doing this. So thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Last time for the volunteers. All right. Number 2 is a right to start proclamation. I'd like to invite Cameron Law, California Coalition Manager and Ambassador for the Right to Start. Would you please come forward? Oops, I better hold on to that. You can hold on to this. America the Entrepreneurial. As America marks its 250th startup birthday in 2026, we must celebrate the entrepreneurial spirit that built our nation, states, and cities, which was forged by starters, makers, doers, and dreamers who pursued a better future. And because America belongs to the living generation, it is our turn to renew the nation's entrepreneurial spirit, and entrepreneurs are essential to fostering economic prosperity, creating homegrown jobs, raising incomes, generating wealth, building stronger communities, diversifying goods and services, and reducing inequality and poverty. And each of us has the power to be a founder of our nation's future, and entrepreneurs have played a critical role in revitalizing the city of Yuba City, and it is fitting to publicly recognize and celebrate the vital contributions of entrepreneurs to the prosperity and well-being of our city and our region. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mark Boomgarden, Mayor of the City of Yuba City, on behalf of the entire City Council and all the citizens that we serve, do hereby proclaim that the City of Yuba City will join America the Entrepreneurial and take actions to encourage more entrepreneurship across our city. The City of Yuba City shall celebrate its entrepreneurs and entrepreneurial spirit. Man, that's a lot of words there. Through 2026. Very important words, though. So, Cameron, we have a proclamation for you, which contains everything I said. And let's see. Let's do the photo first.
Yeah, terrific.
we'll appreciate the recognition and really proud that Yuba City is joining this national campaign in celebrating the just entrepreneurial roots that we have here as a nation. And some of you might be asking why entrepreneurs matter. And one of the key elements of right to start is the right and right to start is that every American has the right to start a business. And we're at a time where actually across the nation for the last 30 years, we're starting less businesses than we ever have before. And that's dramatically impacting our economy, both here at the local level and across the nation. And so some of the reasons that matter is actually all net new jobs come from new business starts. And so when we think about growing a community, it's about how do we empower these starters to actually create jobs and opportunity for the future of our community. When we walk down our main streets, those restaurants that we enjoy, those are our entrepreneurs who are creating those opportunities for us. Additionally, when we think about tackling poverty, for every % increase in entrepreneurial activity, we drive a $400 in average household income in that particular community. And so we continue to foster entrepreneurial activity, which I know Yuba City has fostered through its Yes, You Can with Yuba City campaigns and other efforts. And so just joining this national campaign is such a huge significance for the city, but also our region, which I know you play a large role in fostering. So really appreciate the recognition and your investment for entrepreneurs. And this is ultimately to create a unified voice for entrepreneurs because they're often too busy building and not able to come and engage in, kind of the politics of various things. So thank you for your commitment.
You're welcome. We certainly pride ourselves on trying to be open to business, but open for business as well. And that has been one of our cornerstones of being here in Yuba City. So it's easy to sign on to things like this. Thank you so much for being here this evening.
Thank you.
Ooh, this one's going to be a little rough. Dr. Tawny Dotson, Distinguished Leadership and Service Proclamation from our council. It's rough because she's done such a wonderful job in the community and a friend. But we do, yeah. We'll just get going here. The City of Yuba City recognizes and honors Dr. Tawny Dotson for her exceptional leadership and service as president of Yuba College from 2020 to 2026. During her tenure, she led major initiatives to improve campus sustainability and student success, including developing the college's 2022-2025 educational master plan, increasing applicant to enrollment conversion rates, and successfully guiding the institution through the COVID-19 pandemic. Under her leadership, dual enrollment opportunities expanded significantly. Enrollment grew from 3,875 to 5,000 full-time equivalent students, and the college now serves more than 10,000 students. Dr. Dotson's also strengthened workforce and environmental education through a watershed management certificate program developed in partnership with the Yuba Water Agency. In addition to her educational leadership, she served 23 years in the U.S. military as a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force Reserve, and the Air National Guard, and is a graduate of the prestigious Leadership Fellowships. Through this proclamation, I, Mayor Mark Boomgarden, and our entire City Council formally commend Dr. Dotson for her extraordinary contributions, dedicated service, and lasting impact on the college and the community. So, those of us who've been in the community for a long time, and all of us have, and I'm sure many of you have, understand the significance of Yuba College and the ability to reintroduce the college into our community was led by you. And the workforce development activities, which are so meaningful to everyone that lives in Yuba and Sutter counties, it has been one of those breaths of fresh air because we feel it. It's just not something, it's not words on paper. This is the real deal right here. And while we acknowledge her departure and wish her the best, it's very sad because we really value what she brought to our community. With that, I'd like to give you this proclamation. And we'll let you talk first, but I know these folks all have something to say too.
Thank you. It certainly has been a real honor to return to this community and be a partner with you in elevating Yuba Sutter. And I hope that I have always felt like a partner because it has been my intention. And I'm grateful for the work that I've done. I hope that we have established a foundation to continue to succeed as a college and as a community. I'm also incredibly grateful for your mentorship and guidance from day one in the Steelhouse coffee shop and the many places that we've met. It has meant a big deal to me. I am most grateful, though, to call each of you friend. And I mean that, and I'm going to miss you. So thank you.
Thank you.
I had the distinct privilege of being part of bringing this lady here. We had a recruitment because we lost our president, moved on, and she was clearly the choice immediately when you started engaging with this young lady. I knew this day was coming. She has done a wonderful job. I will be blunt. She's been putting lipstick on a pig for 6 years. And she has brought it to the forefront. She brought Yuba Community College back to the forefront of when I was growing up. And anybody that's been in this community for more than a generation, Yuba College has affected them in some way. Whether it was somebody that has serviced you, had been a police officer, a fireman, a teacher, accountant, you name it. You've been affected by Yuba College. And I am so happy that the dual enrollment has taken off. I remember when I went back to a convention my first year, and they were talking about dual enrollment. And I came back to the chancellor and I said, why aren't we doing this? Well, the state and the teachers are in the way. And we got it changed, and this lady has taken it and just ran with it. So thank you, Tawny. And it's been a pleasure knowing you and having you as a friend.
What a tremendously accomplished leader you are. Our community needs that, and our education system certainly does. I can attest to everything that Mark read as a high school teacher. These students really need this type of leadership and these types of services. So thank you so much, and good luck with what you're doing. We'll miss you here.
Thank you, Mayor. Tawny, you came in when the world was all falling apart. And I just want to say thank you. Because I know myself, Mark, Wade, you went there as well. I think if we all put up our hands, probably a lot of this room is alum from Yuba College. And we saw what it was, we saw what it became. And then as you already heard, how you've elevated it. And it's bittersweet. And I'm glad we're all friends. And I want to wish you the greatest success in your journeys going forward. It's, like Mike said, it's sad that you're leaving, not expected, because good leaders continue to go on and develop the next challenge. They accept it and they excel. We're looking forward to hearing about your successes in the future. And I want to give my condolences to John, because now they've got the tough job as a trustee to go find someone that can come in and do what you've done. So wish you the best.
Tawny, it feels like you just got here. That's what it feels like. But as Dave said, I am a 49er alumni, and the school has meant a lot to me and my family. You mentioned the dual enrollment. That's the reason our son is a junior at UC Santa Cruz right now. And I was witness to that program, and it's an amazing program. So thank you for everything you've done and you continue to do. Thank you.
Did we already do the photo? Oh, great. I want the photo. All right. Next item up is item number 4, public communication, the appearance of interested citizens. You are welcome and encouraged to participate in this meeting. Public comment is taken on action items appearing on the consent calendar or business items on the agenda when they are called. Public comment on any other items within the scope of the city's jurisdiction, including items not listed on the agenda, will be considered at this time. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Members of the public submitting written requests at least 24 hours prior to the meeting will be allotted 5 minutes to comment per speaker. Repetitive comments may be limited, and large groups are encouraged to select representatives to express the opinions of the group. Do we have any comments from the public? And I do have one speaker card from Tony.
Thank you for Fire Chief Mike Bungard. Thank you for calling Tony. I appreciate it. Thank you for your service, everything for the volunteers, both reserve volunteers and civilian volunteers. April is Volunteer Appreciation Reserve Volunteer Month. April is Volunteer Month. I like that. And thank you. Also, June 2nd is Election Day. Go out and vote. Your vote count. Your vote matters. Go vote. Be a political person. Be a council person. Be the new governor. I like it. Thank you, Wade, Council Wade, for his service. Thank you, Dave Shaw, also known as Brandon Barnes, for his service. Thank you, Fire Chief, for your service. Also, the Mayor. Thank you, Mike Pasquale, also Santa Claus, for his service. Thank you, Tony Cole, for his service as the councilwoman for District 5. Thank you, Laura Bendorf, City Manager, for his service. Thank you, Sharon Griffin, City Attorney for Fresno. Thank you, Huntington Beach 4-star Journal, Huntington Beach Police Chief Jim Wynyard. Yeah. They Tony for his service, old-fashioned Tony. Doug Livy, Tesla, for his service. Thank you, Doug Dynasty, Big Beer, for his service. Thank you, the red hair. I like the red hair, for his service. And thank you, and thank you.
That'll stick.
And thank you. I'm thanking Savannah for her service. Savannah from Georgia for her service. And thank you, Detective, for his service. Detectives over there. Don't forget, June is Pride Month. Celebrate Pride Month. So thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Anybody else from the public like to speak? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and can be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items prior to the time that the council votes on the motion, unless members of the city council request specific items to be discussed or removed from the consent calendar for individual action. As I mentioned previously, item 10 will be polled for a separate vote. And due to real property interest, we anticipate and acknowledge the following recusals. Item 8, which is Lighting Landscaping Maintenance District 1. Myself and Vice Mayor Pasquale will need to recuse ourselves. Item 9, which is Lighting and Landscape Maintenance Districts 2 through 4. Myself and Councilmember Shaw will need to recuse ourselves. And item 11, which is the RS Lighting Maintenance District, is Councilman Kirchner will need to recuse themselves. To the City Council, are there any other recusals from the consent calendar? All right, do we have any comments from the public on consent calendar items 5 through 9 and 11 through 17 from the public? With none, we'll go ahead and take the motion for items 5 through 9 and 11 through 17 on the consent calendar.
Through the mayor, move to approve consent calendar 5 through 17 without 15 and without 10, as those are with the recusals that you indicated.
You know, City Council, if we could, to make this easier, because Councilmember Shaw, you have to recuse yourself on one of them. Would Councilmember Cole, if you don't mind, Councilmember Shaw, would Councilmember Cole be willing to make the motion? And would Councilmember Kirchner be willing to make the second? And then that would make it clean. Thank you.
Okay.
I withdraw my motion.
15 through 17. Okay. All right, through the mayor, I move to approve consent calendar 5 through 9 and 14 through 17 and 11 through 17.
Second.
All right.
Okay, items, having a motion from Councilmember Cole, second by Councilmember Kirchner. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, items 5 through 9 and 11 through 17 have passed. So 5 through 9. Which one? Shannon, you want to lead us through this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we have a rather unique circumstance for this one. 4 of the city council members have to recuse themselves on this item because they own property within the CFD items areas that are scattered throughout the city. So obviously, Councilmember Cole is the only one that would be up there, and she can't take action by herself unless there's 2 other people there. So under state law, when you have less than a majority due to a recusal like this, what happens is you select the 2 people that will be staying by a random mechanism or way. And tonight we'd like to basically draw colored pins out of a hat or a box, for lack of a better word, as to the 4 council members that are up there. And if Savannah, if I could, what colors do we have by any chance? Councilmember, Vice Mayor Pasquale, if you wouldn't mind being orange, Mayor, if you wouldn't mind being blue, Councilmember Shaw, if you wouldn't mind being green, and Councilmember Kirchner is? Yellow. Alrighty. Thank you very much. If you could throw them in the box, mix them around, and pick 2, I'd appreciate it. The 2 that are selected will be the ones that stay. Orange stays. And blue stays. If the other 2 could recuse themselves for the duration of this item, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. And there's no need to make a presentation. All there is need for any public comment, and then we can have a vote.
Okay. Any public comment on item 10, item 8, item 9, and not 11, I guess. I thought 11 needed to be recused.
Just 10.
Just 10.
So it'd be any comment on item 10.
Okay, got it. No public comment on 10? Hearing none, seeing none. Back to us for a motion.
Through the mayor, I'd like to take action on item 10, Yuba City Lighting and Landscape District numbers 5 through 6 annual levy initiation.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Pasquale, a second by Councilmember Cole. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Item 10 passes unanimously. We can bring the others back, please. Welcome back.
We were gone so long.
Everybody? Okay, item number 18, status of vacancies and recruitment and retention efforts for fiscal year 25-26 in compliance with AB 2561. This will be presented by Gina Rowland, who is our Human Resources Director.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Gina Rowland, Human Resources Director. In the interest of time, I'm going to forego the PowerPoint presentation. It wasn't very detailed anyway. So Assembly Bill 2561 requires the public agencies present the status of vacancies and recruitment and retention efforts during a public hearing before the governing board on an annual basis and prior to the adoption of the final budget. When the vacancy rate for any bargaining unit exceeds 20% of the total number of authorized full-time positions, there are additional obligations that are required to be presented upon request of the recognized employee organization. So the bargaining unit vacancy rates, well, the only bargaining unit that reached this threshold is the mid-managers unit, and they did not request additional reporting of information. The vacancy rates are as follows. So the confidential unit only has 6 positions. There was 1 vacancy, so they had a 16% vacancy rate. The executive unit, all 9 positions are filled, so a 0 vacancy rate. The fire bargaining unit, they have 50 positions. They have a 4% vacancy rate. They have 2 vacancies. One of their positions is unfunded. Fire management, 4 positions. 100% of those positions are filled. First level managers, 33 positions. They have a 9% vacancy rate. They only have 3 vacancies currently. Of those 3 vacancies, 2 of the positions have been left vacant all year long as a way to achieve salary savings by the department. Local 1 has 123 positions. They have a 14% vacancy rate. 5 of their positions were unfunded this fiscal year, and they have 12 current vacancies. Mid-managers, as I previously mentioned, they have 18 positions, and they have 4 vacancies, so they've got a 22% vacancy rate. Police first level, all of their 11 positions are filled, so they have a 0% vacancy rate. Police mid-managers, they only have 6 positions in their bargaining unit, and 1 of their positions is unfunded, so they've got a 16.7% vacancy rate. Police Officers Association, they have 84 positions. They have an 18% vacancy rate, but 10 of their positions were unfunded this fiscal year. They have 5 current vacancies in that bargaining unit. So all bargaining units have been notified of this public hearing and have received a copy of the presentation. All have been offered to make a presentation. The Human Resources Department will continue our efforts to improve upon recruitment and retention by working to modernize rules, streamline processes, and provide more flexibility. In fact, HR recently concluded its work with an HR recruitment rules working group where we completely revamped our existing personnel rules for recruitment, exam, and selection. So we've very much streamlined those rules. Next, we'll communicate those rules to the city executives and bargaining units, and we anticipate being able to bring those proposed rules to City Council within the next couple of months for your consideration. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Okay, my script here says that we need to hold a public hearing, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the public hearing on this item. I do have a speaker card from Tony Farley.
Tony Farley, regarding of the mid-management for police and fire, either vacant or closed now, the police and fire management jobs. Are vacant or closed? Are you still filling them still? Those mid-management for both police and fire.
Tony, Gina can get with Tony at the end. We can't answer questions here in public comment. It's just comment. But at the conclusion of the presentation, Gina will meet you out and give you an answer to that.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay, closing the public hearing, bring it back to the council. I don't think we have to do anything except receive the report, correct, Mr. City Attorney?
There's a hearing in the report, and that's it.
I apologize. I should have mentioned that as part of my report. Yes, the recommended action is that you receive this report and conduct the public hearing.
Okay, and we've done that.
And just to get 5 nods on receiving the report. Thank you very much.
All right. Next up, item number 19, which is the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and the Water Shortage Contingency Plan. This is going to be presented by Christian Elder, Water Treatment Plant Supervisor, and looks like Robert Heather. Is that correct?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Christian Elder, Water Treatment Plant Supervisor. The item I'm bringing before you today is the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan. State of California requires public water systems to update this plan every 5 years. Zan Harrow and Robert Heather played a key role in preparing the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and have worked closely with the city staff throughout the process. Robert will now provide a presentation highlighting the key findings, projections, and recommendations contained within the plan.
Mayor, council members, thank you for having me today. I believe this is PowerPoint. Okay. Sweet. So I'll make this as brief as needed. This is the 2025 Urban Water Management Planning presentation. So as Christian said, this is a document that is required by the state of California to be updated every 5 years and due to be submitted to the state by July 1, 2026. So I want to just provide a couple of overview topics for what we're going to quickly discuss today. So just some general requirements of what the plan is and kind of how we go about addressing those primary items. Then we're going to go into what it defines an urban water supplier. And then we'll go into some more detail about service area information, supply characterization, current and projected water use over the planning period. We'll then kind of combine those two, supply characterization and demand projections, for a water service reliability assessment. And then we'll move into the water shortage contingency plan. And I'd like to touch base on a couple fundamental findings that we can all take away from this planning effort, as well as next steps and recommendations. So first and foremost, the Urban Water Management Plan is a 20-year planning document with an optional 5-year extension. And so we've taken that approach for the city's urban plan once again this year. So a little background, we did the 2020 version, and so it was kind of a no-brainer from my point of view to continue those efforts and update the plan for 2025. Nevertheless, it's a 25-year planning document, which means we're looking at conditions out to 2050, both in terms of supply, reliability, and demand projections. We move into the service area description, so there are some very prescriptive elements that the water code requires us to report about. Once again, we move into the supply characterization, and similar, the water code does require another prescriptive mechanism in terms of how we look at supplies. So we just characterize supply under a normal average year condition, and then per the water code, we're looking at it through a single dry year, as well as another scenario where we're modeling a 5-year drought scenario and looking at those supplies and really what do the supplies look like under that 5-year drought scenario. Part of the service area description is population. So we take the approach, we go through the population projections using informed data and growth, and then we move into drought risk assessment. So this is kind of that water service reliability. Specifically, the drought risk assessment is a near-term assessment where we're looking at the next 5 years, so 26 through 30, and assuming that multi-year drought and how we're going to maintain service reliability through that time frame. Continuing on the reliability assessment, so there's that near term as well as that long term. So now we're looking out to the 2050 timeframe, and we're assessing our ability to maintain water service reliability under those drought scenarios. And then from there, we're going to touch base on the water shortage contingency plan. In 2020, this was a new requirement, and so believe that the plan worked well for these last 5 years, and so we've taken the approach this year to just update it just as needed and not really refine the entire document. We think we did a pretty good job the first time. So moving into kind of the specific things, so what defines an urban water supplier in terms of how the state looks at these, and it is any public water system that serves either 3,000 connections or 3,000 acre feet per year. And so you can see here just the definition, just by definition on connections and volume, we meet that threshold. Now we're getting to the population. So being a city, there's a lot of good information regarding population, both current as well as projections. So per the California Department of Finance, they produce population estimates for cities and counties. We're at about just under 71,000. Moving on into the projected population, what we like to do there is we try to characterize what we know as growth. So there are certain plans out there, large development plans, both residential in nature and commercial in nature, as well as the Sacramento Area Council of Governments. They recently completed their 2025 blueprint, which aims to characterize kind of growth in different regions in their region. And we were able to work with SACOG to get data specific to the city. And that blueprint, the 2025 blueprint, provides planning projections out to 2050. So it just aligned with the Urban Water Management Plan. So how they've kind of characterized growth, we've incorporated that information as relevant into the Urban Water Management Plan. So when you combine these elements here, we're looking at a projected population out at 2050 of just under 87,000. And that's really driven by kind of the SACOG, the Sacramento Area Council of Government, their characterization of how growth is going to occur, both in terms of residential and non-residential over the planning period. Moving on, we're going to talk about the supply characterization. So I briefly touched base on this. Here's the water code that basically says, hey, we got to look at a normal year, a single dry year, and then a multi-year drought that lasts 5 years. It's primarily informed on historical operations and how we see supplies come down the hill, as well as there's some regulations out there that help inform on how we're going to be planning to use these supplies over the planning period. So I won't get into too much detail about each individual supply, but the city holds a contract with the California Department of Water Resources to receive what's called State Water Project water. So we've incorporated that asset into their supply characterization. A portion of that Table A water is allowed to be carried over year in and year out. And so we've separated the two between kind of an annual allocation and then an amount available to be to contribute the bank account, if you will. Moving on from there, of course, the city has a couple of appropriative rights on the Feather River as well. License 13855 and then water right permit 18558. So each of these appropriative water rights have different characteristics in terms of priority, how much you're allowed to take, when you're allowed to take it. And nevertheless, we've kind of put these through the grinder to understand what is the utility in terms of supply reliability and supply characterization. And you'll see here, the city also holds a contract with the North Yuba Water District. It's a really good asset that the city has, and you'll see that incorporated into the supply characterization as well. Lastly, we have some groundwater supply that's produced locally there. And I do believe that we have, we've incorporated into these numbers not only current production capacity, but anticipated production capacity over the time frame. And when we roll all these up, we kind of have a supply characterization for a summary here. So this is kind of how we've looking at the supplies over the required planning period, as well as under each drought scenario. So line 1, we have the normal year characterization, of course, the single dry year, and then we move into that 5-year modeled drought scenario. So then we move from supply into the water use. So there's the water code that kind of points us in the direction of what we need to be reporting on. But more importantly, our projections are informed on historical water use, current regulations, and land use projections, right? So water is tied to land in terms of what's being done on the land. It usually has can inform on what type of water use is associated with that. And so we've looked carefully at the city's current customer base. We've brought in information on the service area growth and what's expected over the planning horizon. And overlaid on all of that would be the regulatory conditions. So maybe some of us are aware, but the state of California is requiring lower water use, or what they would term more efficient water use. So we're seeing lawns shrink. We're seeing water loss and water loss control measures be not only implemented, but mandated by the state as well. And so when you put the growth projections in, you bring in the historical data on customer water use, it allows us to understand or project what we anticipate being the demand projections over the planning period. And so I've broken these out into the existing customer base as of 2025, and then we've characterized the new customers. We treat those separately because there are certain requirements on new customers that don't really apply to existing or older customers. I'm thinking about landscaping requirements. So when you're building a new house now, the amount of irrigable acreage that you're allowed to implement is a lot less than it used to be. So we like to split these out between existing and then new. So the regulations that apply for existing are slightly different than they are for new. And one thing I'd like to just highlight here is in the residential, you'll see a decreasing projection for the existing customers. And this is begrudgingly included in your plan, but it's important because the state is directing lower water use for existing customers for residential customers. So you'll see that in response to the state's directive, we wanted to incorporate demand projections that reflected that as well. And to a degree, we are seeing lower water use kind of across the board as I think the zeitgeist of our communities kind of get a little bit more efficient and a little bit more understanding of the resource and everyone doing their part. So now that we've kind of understood the supplies, we've characterized those and under the various drought scenarios, normal, single dry year, and multi-year drought. We've projecting the demands. So reliability assessment, we're just comparing those two items, the supply and the demand, and reporting out the difference between those. And this drought risk assessment, or DRA, is prescribed for the next 5 years. We're assuming that the next 5 years is dry. And consistent with that, we are also increasing the demands by 5% because in general, when a drought starts to happen, we don't know that we're in a drought yet. So we're watering our tomatoes a little bit more often. Our grass is a little bit more thirstier. And for water planning purposes, we like to maintain kind of higher than normal demands to really kind of stress test our supply and our ability to meet those demands. So you'll see that these demands are just a little bit increased compared to for example, the 2030 number. They'll be increased by about 5%. Moving on to more of the long-term reliability. So per the water code, they require an assessment of your supply and demand for these periods for a normal year characterization, as well as that single dry year. So here you can really see the difference in demands that we've assumed. And once again, we've taken the conservative assumption that demands are higher during drought periods for that purpose of really stress testing the city's ability to maintain reliability. So here's the normal year and single year characterization for supply and demand. You'll see on an annual basis, there's a pretty good surplus there each and every year. And then per the water code, there's a long-term reliability assessment. So this is a 5-year required drought scenario in which we are assessing supplies and demands as well. So, high level, you guys have plenty of water to maintain reliability on an annual basis. So that'll move us into the water shortage contingency plan. If we had gone through this exercise and realized, we may be in trouble for water service over the planning period, that's what the water shortage contingency plan is there to do. When there is a supply shortage in which supplies are just less than expected demands, this is a tool for the city to use to ask. Stage 1 is generally voluntary, but as we get into various stages of the water shortage contingency plan, they become mandatory and prescriptive. And we're just getting people to use water more wisely to really hold on to that supply as long as we can. Kind of building in implementation here, the kind of the first actions that we do during a water shortage declaration, of course, is public outreach, conservation messaging. There may be bill inserts, that type of thing. And then that, as the water shortage condition gets worse or demands are such that we need to implement something more strict, we would look for kind of allocation-based reductions where we're actually looking at water use collectively and trying to understand, are there outliers here, and engage those customers to require less water use. So all of that said, I just want to get to the fundamental findings. So, we are seeing the projected demands grow, although probably not as much as you'll see in some of the historical plans that we've seen previously. That's primarily due to demand hardening, which means we all kind of know how to use water more wisely, as well as regulatory requirements. So the city is doing things to get the message out, to get people to use water more efficiently, to lower their overall per capita water use. You do have reliable water supplies over the planning period. It does require special attention each year to understand, I go back to the State Water Project, there's an annual allocation, so it's not just here's 9,600 acre feet every year. They're looking at snowpack, they're looking at river conditions, and then they're gonna provide a percentage-based allocation towards that. And so each year, Christian and Phil and others, we're all looking at this stuff very carefully on not only an annual basis, but a monthly basis, to try to identify when maybe natural flow in the river is unavailable to the city. And so we would be looking at some of these stored supplies, for example, the State Water Project supplies, to make up any type of monthly deficit. So really, we were looking at those annual totals and surplus and differences. But within the annual totals, there are months in which it's a lot less, it's a little bit tighter. And these guys do a great job at making sure that there's water on the faucet when we go there to take a shower and brush our teeth every day.
And just if we could wrap this up in the next 30 seconds due to our timing.
Got it.
Thank you.
So next steps and recommendations, of course, we'd ask for a resolution adopting both the water shortage contingency plan and the urban plan. And then once we can get those adopted, we will move forward with DWR submittal, meeting that July 1st deadline. Questions?
All right.
Contact information.
Thank you for the presentation. Bring it back to the council for any questions. Seeing none, okay, then we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. We'll open the public hearing on item number 19 on the Urban Water Management Plan and Water Shortage Contingency Plan. Anybody from the public like to speak? Seeing none, go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to the council for action.
Through the mayor, recommend 19 for adoption, B and C.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Pasquale, second by Councilmember Shaw. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Item 19 passes. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Robert. And we'll move on to item number 20. Policy governing remote participation and enhancement of public participation in city council and commission meetings to implement Senate Bill number 707.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Sierra Wakefield. I'm the City Clerk, as you know. And this evening, I am here to briefly present the highlights of SB 707. So back in October 2025, Governor Newsom signed Senate Bill number 707, which revises and updates the Brown Act. The purpose is to make our meetings more accessible, inclusive, and transparent to residents, and to use new technology to make that happen. Basically, any city in California who has a population of over 30,000 people, or any cities located within a county who have a population over 600,000 are subject to these new provisions. So the city of Yuba City, sitting at approximately 70,000 people in population, we are subject to all the provisions of SB 707. So these are highlights. I would like to just point out that SB 707 is about 50 pages long, if you need some quality reading. This evening, you're definitely going to get more than you bargained for with this one, but I wanted to highlight some of the impacts to us, to staff, that really are going to make a big change in our community here in the Yuba City Center area. So SB 707, as I mentioned, updates the city's open meeting requirements to enhance public participation, transparency, and accessibility. Some of the highlights, as I mentioned, require that we offer mandatory hybrid meetings with remote participation. Policy, we have to establish a policy regarding broadcast disruption, which we will hopefully adopt this evening. We also have to outline what we will do if there is some sort of interruption in the internet connection or some sort of technology mishap that will basically cause us to take a 1-hour recess to figure out what we're doing, and then the council will have options to determine what happens after that. Again, all of the details of how that will play out are outlined in the policy that were attached to your staff report. We will have to provide translation of not only meeting agendas, but of our website, and provide translation assistance in all of our council meetings going forward. We will have to provide a posting site out in the courtyard so that members of the community can also provide alternate translations if they choose to. We are required to expand our outreach to organizations and groups that may not have English as their primary language, to make sure that they are aware and informed of the council meeting agendas. And we need to also keep these requirements in mind for eligible subsidiary bodies, which in some agencies, this will affect all of their commissions, their boards. It becomes very complicated very quickly. But in our case, in this moment, it really only affects the city council meetings. Planning Commission and other commissions would not have to abide by these new regulations. So estimated cost at this point to implement SB 707, we're looking at about $25,000 annually. That includes translation services, everything from live in person, technology to printed materials, tech upgrades that are necessary to make sure that folks that are able to participate remotely can be managed appropriately, expanding public notice displays out in the courtyard, and extended outreach to non-English speaking outlets. So keep in mind that all of these things are actual costs, but they do not include the staff time that is required to implement and maintain compliance. So the alternative is to defer action, to do nothing, and to give us alternate direction. But I would warn that this is a state mandate, as you know, and non-compliance will likely result in penalties and potential litigation risk. So my recommendation is to adopt the resolution to adopt a policy entitled Policy Governing Remote Participation and Enhancement of Public Participation in City Council and Commission Meetings to implement Senate Bill number 707. I'm happy to answer any questions.
You're happy? Any questions from the council?
Through the mayor,
Yes.
once again, mandates not being paid for by our eminent bureaucracy to the south of us. I am so frustrated. Hopefully things will change. Thank you.
Any other comments? Public comment. I have a speaker card from Tony Farley on item number 20.
Okay, speaking of the South of Sacramento, yeah. Hey, Senate Bill 707, also known as the Brown Act. I support the Brown Act. We need more of that in Yuba City. So yeah, good job, Sierra, and you Savannah, for updating us with Senate Bill 707 to modernize the city council meeting and the county meetings too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Any other public comment? Hearing none, bring it back to the council for any more comments or action.
The mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve item 20 as presented by staff.
Second.
All right. I have a motion by Council Member Kirchner, a second by Council Member Cole. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, item 20 passes unanimously. Item number 21, future agenda items. To appear to the council, any future items?
Yeah, through the mayor, could we bring on our next agenda what is it?
The crosswalk.
Oh, the crosswalk painting on Plymouth Street. Bring it back for discussion and action.
I just need a nod from Sierra. Thank you. Anybody else? No? No? Okay. Reports and communications. The following reports and communication items are provided for the council's information. No action can be taken on the items under this section unless the council agrees to include it on a subsequent agenda. City manager's report.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Councilmember Cole.
I have nothing to report, Mayor.
Councilmember Kirchner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nothing to report. I've been out of town for a little bit, but I'd like to thank Councilmember Shaw and the Vice Mayor Pasquale for covering my commissions while I was gone. I'd also like to acknowledge the efforts by Councilmember Shaw, the mayor, the vice mayor, for dealing with a very, very difficult anniversary recently, being the 50th anniversary of the bus crash. Thank you for all you do for our city, gentlemen.
You're welcome. Councilmember Shaw.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. I'm going to keep it very, very brief. I've updated my colleague on covering transit, and at the next council meeting, in lieu of it being election night, I'll report out on everything that's happened thus far.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Pasquale.
Nothing to report.
I also will defer my report on activities, nothing crucial going on, but I will bring those to the June 16th. I'll bring it in January. May not even be here in January, no. June 16th meeting. But with that, we will be adjourned.